brought them there. It's like they found the holy chalice of Jesus. What do you call it?
The holy chalice?
You know, the
cup.
Yeah, what do you call that damn thing? I should say damn thing.
The Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail. They found that and all this gold and all this other stuff, but other things that were so deep that it was contrary to what they were taught to believe. And so they decided to keep it a secret. And they left. Now, they were attacked, you know, but there's evidence of them getting a lot of them got out of there and went to America, to other parts of the earth. I don't know. I've heard several different stories. You don't know which one to believe, you know, but some of them did escape, and they escaped. Oh, this is where that story about Jesus and Mary, not Mother Mary.
Mary Magdalene.
Somebody having, I mean, the sacrilege, you know, what I'm hinting at, you know, I stopped, I don't even want to say it. But it was a seed. See, it all gets back down to a lineage. You follow me? Now, if you stop and you go back and you think about it for a second, before you just dismiss it completely, how does the very first book in the New Testament start out? It's Matthew. It starts out by saying that Adam knew his wife, and by the way, knew, and it's spelled K-N-E-W, didn't mean he knew her as a good friend. It meant an action. Do you know what I mean? Sex. Because it says Adam knew his wife and they conceived Cain and Abel. And then it would go on saying that they called it the begats, and they conceived about. They went through a big lengthy time, starting way back then, all the way on up into the birth of Mary. And then the very next gospel is Luke, and you got the other genealogy of Joseph. And they took time out to tell you who begat who, who fathered who, all the way on. Now, why did they go through all that trouble? Okay. This is what I began to suspect. I began to suspect chapter 13 in Revelation. This is going to get freaky on you. This might be too much for your little heart. But you can just imagine what kind of nightmares I've had working on this.
So it's chapter 13.
Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. You've heard of that.
Okay.
Some said credit cards, you know, what, 30 years ago? Some said the Pope. It couldn't have been that Pope because he's dead. Right? But what happens, why no one has ever said that it's exactly what it says it is. Go over it again. Here is wisdom. Let him that has wisdom count the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man. He's the 666th person to be born.
So go back to all those names?
Well, certainly I don't believe that it would have been going back through the lineage of Jesus or Joseph, or the lineage of Mary, but the lineage of Cain. See, because Cain killed Abel.
Right.
So from the lineage of Cain and all the way up, the 666th grandson would be the real beast. And that's exactly what it's saying.
Did you look it up? Who that was?
No, I tried. I have endeavored 1 billion times over. I've had to pick people on out and studied, and it finally dawned on me, this is not I can't do this. There's no way I'm not there's no way I can do it. No, I can't. I could never prove it to be true or not true. But what I can prove is that Abraham, his first son was not Cain or Abel. It was Ishmael, who came from Hagar. And Hagar was his servant. You remember that?
Yeah, because his wife couldn't.
And she ran away because finally Sarah got jealous. She's the one that suggested and arranged the whole thing.
Yep.
But then she got jealous. And so Hagar ran away, the handmaid ran away into the wilderness and cried and all that. And it said that she saw God face to face. Now, in the New Testament, it says, no man has ever seen God face to face. Well, she wasn't a man, she was a woman. I don't know. All I know is that that's what the Old Testament says. Oh, no, she said it. She says, his name will be Ishmael because I have seen God face to face. God came to her, according to the Old Testament, keep things straight, so keep Al out of it. God came to her and said, what are you crying for, an angel of God? What are you crying for? Go back to Abraham and everything's going to be okay, and your son will be a blah, blah, many seed, you know, la-di-da-do, you know, so don't worry about it, you know. So it's possible. Look at it this way. Look at it this way. Look at, what do these people that fight pit bulls do? What did the Germans do? They were always genetically, right? Always working on genetics, you know, right? Okay. Well, maybe genetics is not such a new thing, you know. What was God's favorite? What was God's favorite sacrifice? Cain or Abel's? Cain brought crops. Abel brought blood. He sacrificed animals, and God, though he accepted both their sacrifices, he chose Abel's over over Cain's. But Abel used blood. So God, for some reason, likes blood. You know, what's the thing that saves us from our sin?
The blood of Jesus.
Blood of Jesus. See? So see, it all makes sense. You see? It's indisputable. You can't do nothing about it. So in the meanwhile, while all of this genealogy is coming together, see, and they had both of these big family trees going on together to bring them all finally together to produce Jesus right at the end there, right? How do you know that there wasn't another genealogy that started back then at the same time that's been still going on, and Jesus died 2,000 years ago and rose again, we hope, that it's still going on. And there's this family tree that he comes by many names, you know, is still producing, still bringing his deal together to come up with his big, you know, son, you know, or creation, you know, his big pit bull, you know, people breed pit bulls. You know, people breed horses. I mean, they get the best stock of each, and that's what they put together. And then you go back to that Revelation thing and you read it again, it starts to make a lot more sense. He's the number of a man. So simple, it makes sense to me. It's freaky, isn't it? It's scary, you know? And yet, you can disperse with all that because that's a synopsis. That's just philosophy. That doesn't necessarily have to be true. So when that happens, you backtrace, you know. You backtrace to what you do know. And you start studying that again. And that's what I've done. And I'll tell you, when I backtraced, I started finding out shit. I didn't get all caught up, you know. Oh, I'd get caught up on a night's worth or 2 nights worth, you know, over here and over there. But I'd always backtrack and go back, and I started finding connections all over the goddamn place, man. Oh my God. Oh my God. When I found out that one of the most respectable and reputed organizations in the United States has its founding in the Rosicrucian Society, and I can prove it. So freaky that I can't even say it. So obscure, so weird that it would devastate so many people. Would you rather be happy or would you rather be right?
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, man, and I had to deal with it.
It is scary, you know.
It is, and I had to deal with it. You know, Nana said I used to wake up having nightmares, just scary nightmares, you know, when I would study it. But I even prayed to God. I got lost, and I prayed to God, and I says, I need a missing, and I got one. I got me a missing link.
I'm wondering if you were going to say the church or something.
Which part of the church?
Well, I mean, like in Rome, you know, the Pope and all that.
Yeah, what about him? That's where that guy said I'm supposed to die. I told you that the other day. Remember that? Yeah, the Rome and all that. You know, I'm a little man. I'm not, you know, that was my biggest problem, Vera, is that here I am handling what more than one person might say is the biggest job in the universe, you know, even daring to tackle it, you know. And I'm not even equipped to. I don't have the, you know, I don't have the knowledge to, you know. I need 50 Einsteins with me, you know what I mean? I need 40 historians.
This is so deep. I've never heard.
My God,
had
I could tell you more
conversation
shit.
like this.
Oh man,
my mind is like so small and is trying to listen to all this that I've never heard of before in my life.
Let me tell you one thing again. I already told it to you once, so I guess it's safe to tell it to you again. I was doing this study when I was in France. And I took a plane from Paris, France, not knowing where I was going to go. And I ended up at 496 Canyon Acres. And in that house, I found a coffin. And inside the coffin, I found manuscripts that high of the Rosicrucian Society of England. And I had no idea what I had until I ran into Debbie Yuckle. And Debbie Yuckle, look her up, is the daughter of Texaco Distribution. And she's the one that pointed it out to me. See, all I had was the Golden Dawn. I was on to the Golden Dawn. But she's the one that pointed out to me. She says, don't you know that the Golden Dawn is connected with the Rosicrucian? And I'm like, what? And then she passed me over that book and showed me that page 10, second or third paragraph, and I memorized it. I memorized it that minute. She took the book with her. Some respects, Dr. Westcott's Order of the Golden Dawn is a byproduct of a much older fraternity named the Rosicrucian Society of England. Now, the Rosicrucian Society of England is very, very, very wealthy. They got I think their main headquarters is in Santa Barbara, but they're like Amway. You ever heard of Amway? They're billions of dollars. I mean, you know, lots of money. And they teach people, you know, to get spiritual or something.
How do people don't know about these things? So many people have never heard of this. I've never heard of any of this stuff. It's like all this.
I don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you.
I've lived this sheltered life or something.
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me, and I wouldn't even want to tell you. I wouldn't want to put me on the spot. But I will tell you this. No, I won't tell you that. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to tell you. There's so many things. Let me tell you about Gordon Wheeler. I hung out with him. I was in Westport, Missouri. I had all these things. I mean, incredible things in my apartment. I didn't even know what I had. And he's walking by, and this is years ago. We were both young and pretty guys. I had long blonde hair. Oh, he was beautifuler than me, and he had long blonde hair. And he's walking by.